So I saw that BlizzCon has been canceled, and while they didn't officially say it, I feel like the reason was like due to a lack of interest. Like last year, all of the tickets didn't sell out, and when you kind of looked, there was some empty seats, some big open spaces that weren't full of people, and like two people there, hyped about Starcraft, right? So it does feel a little bit like a ratings on the wall moment for Blizzard, but I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. I want them to try to turn things around, and I feel like they've actually been trying to take steps in the right direction to turn things around. It's just it's a big ship to try to right. Uh, some of the some of the things that they've done recently that I've personally appreciated, season of discovery. Like they listened that there were people that just preferred the classic game, and they don't want to just replay classic over and over again. They want new stuff. They want a game to take off in new directions, but still maintain the feel, the ambience, the world like of classic. And I think that, they've had a misstep or two with it, but for the most part, it feels like they kind of get it. And it's nice that they split like retailing classic into different teams because it feels like, they've managed to kind of segment their audience a bit. And there are people, right, that enjoy retail, that run Mythic all the time, that, there's a very, very small but dedicated group of people that still do Arena. And it's good that they have a game that's for them. But a friend of mine back in Wrath, she said that Warcraft worked because it was the Walmart of MMOs. It it was just it was just big, and it had like just something for everybody, and it wasn't like the best quality version of something always, but there was something to do no matter why you were playing. You could be in a guild with your friends that did different stuff in the game, and it was still kind of fun to be sharing this like rich, interesting world that they had created. And I always liked that aspect of it. And the biggest thing that kind of made me bounce off of Dragonflight and Shadowlands and like the more recent expansions, and they genuinely did try with Shadowlands. They did some different things. They listened to feedback, and I appreciate them trying. I honestly do. Um, but it's a different team. Like, it's the people that have been developing the game, like, specifically for Mythic. It's the 2 zones and 3 raids and, and, a new rep to grind, a new, new legendary to grind, new world bosses, the, more of the same, people. Everything needs to be grindy, punishing, and on a constantly replaceable, like you like play the patch, you get on, you gear up, you come back and it's invalidated, and you do it again, and you're just on this never-ending like grind treadmill, which there's people that genuinely like that. That's how they feel a sense of progression. Where people they like some part of the older game, and not everybody, right? Again, it was a game that appealed to a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. So, I'm speaking from somebody that liked, that liked the game, you know, because it was an interesting, like RPG, you know, and it was a place that I could have fun with my friends that they weren't all there for the same reason, and it, it feels like retail. Everybody that still kind of plays it for a lot of the same reason, but the participation in those are pretty low, as far as like people that the log runs. There's no way as like an outsider to know their numbers, but they know their numbers, or they wouldn't be making the choices that they're making. Um, but I feel like they are trying to have aspects to pull to kind of put the community back together, you know? Maybe like keep meeting each other halfway until they can make a game for everybody again. I don't know. Um there's Delves are an interesting idea. Making the game finally more alt friendly, where you're playing your account, not your individual characters. That's a really good thing that people that played a lot of alts have wanted for a really long time. I remember even like hearing like the game developer saying, you know, people didn't play multiple characters in vanilla, and it's like, yeah, I did. You know, I did, but you know, I'm just one I'm just one person. So like I understand they mean like I'm a statistically insignificant player. So my opinion doesn't really matter, and that's fine. But I think that was kind of part of the problem. Like people like me and my friends and lots of other people who just used to play Warcraft and kind of fell off. We all just quietly left. Like we never made much of an effort to tell them like why we were leaving, what we didn't like about the changes, and they kept hearing this same like vocal minority for a really long time, and they were developing the game based on people giving them feedback, and it was like a smaller and smaller, more tailored group of people that were giving them feedback, and that's kind of how they seemed to drift off in that direction. And again, for the people that like that, they made the game that they enjoy, and I'm not saying that I want to take that away from anybody. I certainly don't. I'm happy to see additive content for like a wider audience. And I don't want it to come at the expense of an existing audience. That was actually my problem originally when a lot of the things that I enjoyed the game for started kind of being on the back burner for the sake of content. That didn't appeal to me personally because that's a bigger contributing factor to their failure than like just Warcraft. Like Starcraft was pretty much put on ice when the Warcraft Sparkle Pony mounts made more money than than Starcraft. Like, I don't blame them, you know? That was development time. That was, you know, that was like blood, sweat, and tears, and, you know, it sold less than a cosmetic in another game. I don't blame them for shifting away from it. I'm just sad that they did. By the way, anybody who is interested in StarCraft, you might wanna keep a watch on, the studio Frost Giant. It's former Warcraft developers that are working on a new RTS called Stormgate, and it looks a lot like a Warcraft 3, and it looks great so far. So you might want to keep an eye on that if you are a StarCraft fan. Um, and with Overwatch, you know, they really dropped the ball with that one. One of the big selling points of becoming Overwatch 2, besides the retooling of the group size, was adding PvE content, and that was delayed and then mostly like pared down or canceled. And that left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouth because they ended up with a worse version of the game they were already playing without the content that was promised to them. You know, they lost the ability to earn skins in game with the loot boxes being removed. That seemed like a really good ethical choice, but it ended up taking away something that was previously earnable, making it you know, buyable only, and that ends up feeling worse for the people who it was taken from, even if it's better for the overall health of the game. Uh, y- and you know, last year the Overwatch team's presentation, I again like I'm sure I'm sure they're great hardworking people. I'm not saying this to like be offensive, but it the presentation felt like they forgot to do their homework and they were just trying to come up with something to talk about. They talked in depth about like a single character that they were adding, and they just seemed to talk circles about it, and it just it wasn't it didn't like, strike confidence in Overwatch players seeing that. And yeah, and you know, Diablo 4 had a really rough launch, and they they're making effort with their fireside chats. They've fixed some problems that people brought up in their beta in the different seasons. Oh, a lot of people probably would have preferred the changes to come sooner, but they did make the changes. So there's that. Hopefully, like before their expansion's out, then it's going to be a lot closer to the game people wanted, and it's good to acknowledge when things are moving in the right direction. Uh, I was disappointed by it, but I I don't know. I will check it out in future seasons, and see what they're doing. But yeah, um, on the upside, like Chris Metzen's back, right? He was at BlizzCon last year, and just watching that man, you can understand like that he must really like inspire a lot of like just hype and confidence like within the team, and he is responsible for some like really great like narrative in Warcraft. So like it's I'm optimistic that some good story might come back with his return. And they have a 3 expansion um plan for Warcraft, and maybe during that time they're trying to like kind of rework how things work. It's good to have a plan, but I I don't blame anybody that, with so many other choices of games to play and so many other things in their life vying for their attention, if they don't want to be there every day waiting for changes that they've been asking for a really long time. And it's not it's not really Blizzard's fault that they can't get things turned around faster. It's not fans' fault for wanting what they want or being unhappy with the state of things. It's just kind of sad, like that's where we are with it. And again, if you like classic more, um, Season of Discovery is pretty good. They listened to the people that were playing it, and they made hardcore WoW, and that did well for like a while. It the game wasn't designed for hardcore, so it created some frustrating moments for people, but people found some kind of excitement in the challenge. But Greg Street, known as like Ghost Crawler when he was at Blizzard, was a former lead systems designer, and he he left, and well, briefly or for a while he worked on Riot's League of Legends MMO, which still isn't out. But then after that, he went and started Fantastic Pixel Castle studio, and there's a MMO under development there with the code name Ghost. So you might want to keep an eye on that too. But um, if you're enjoying if you're enjoying classic, um, then tell them what you like about it. If you're enjoying Season of Discovery, like let them know. And if you are enjoying retail like it is, you know, um, speak up too. Obviously, don't I absolutely don't want the game to be for nobody. I don't want the people that are playing and enjoying retail to lose what they have either. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I think this sucks. I like a lot about Blizzard. I like a lot about what they've done. It was sad watching them slowly just not be the studio that was making things that were for me anymore, and that's okay. Not everything has to be for me, but I don't know. I'm just sad that the Blizzard isn't the big like the Blizzard polish used to be kind of like a thing associated with them. Like their games really just they just had it, and it's sad that that they're working so hard, sometimes in the wrong direction, and it's received poorly. And I just hope that that since they are trying to listen to the community, I hope that they're able to. I hope that that we can kind of meet them halfway, and I would really like to see them back on top again because they're you know because they've done it before, and if they're willing to try, I'm willing to see what they're gonna do. But, that's kinda how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? Are you still enjoying, like, different Blizzard IPs, like, as they are, or was there, like, a moment that you fell off? I would be really interested to hear what you have to think about it. Okay, take care.